it's Emma with Super Awesome Cool Pottery. Today we're going to learn how to draw a cute, sassy Diva Doggy character, so let's jump right in. I'm going to start by taking my regular old number 2 pencil and doing some rough sketching. Rough sketching is great when you draw. You can create loose, sketchy lines and map out your drawing without committing to it early on. It makes it easy to change elements of your illustration if you decide something doesn't look right. Here you can start to see what I'm drawing. I always start with the character's head when I can, and you can usually measure in head length, so it's useful to draw that first. Then I added a body, limbs, and now I'm doing markings on the face. These markings will help me place facial features. I do one vertical line, which might be where you put a nose, and a horizontal line, which helps with eyes. Speaking of eyes, these ovular shapes I'm drawing on the horizontal line are going to become sunglasses for Diva. You probably noticed I'm using almost exclusively round shapes to build this character. Circles, ovals, long ellipses, and ellipses I add some motion to that I usually just call jelly beans. When you want something to look cute, you can use soft, rounded lines and shapes as a sort of visual shorthand to drive home the cute factor to the viewer. Keeping this idea of soft and rounded shapes in mind, I'm adding more details to the character, a little ponytail on their head and big ears. When drawing a cute character, having a head that is disproportionately large to the body also adds cute factor. So I'm making the ears oversized to match. The oval I just drew at the end of the character's hand is going to be a little handbag. Remember, this is just a rough sketch. I'm still figuring out placement and size of the elements in this drawing, so it doesn't have to look perfect. I'm drawing some curved lines to create a skirt on the Diva Dog. This could easily be changed to a romper or some shorts as well. The curved lines add some motion to the drawing, which makes it more dynamic and adds visual interest. The little legs are also receiving more curvature. Shape of the arms. I'm going to add a thin tube shape to connect the eyes of the sunglasses and define the overall shape a little more. Giving the glasses a bit of a cat eye style point. This is a bit of a contradiction to what I said earlier about soft and round shapes, but there's a few reasons why a couple of sharp points are a good idea here used sparingly. Adding points can add some character and detail to the drawing. If we were just stacking a bunch of circles, we'd end up with a snowman, right? Adding a few points can also add interest for the eye. If you sprinkle them throughout the image, your eye will latch onto them as sharp contrast in a sea of soft shapes, and the points can then lead your eye throughout the image. I'll add some subtle points to the corners of the face to give the character a more interesting face shape and design. Right beneath the intersection of the two face guidelines, I'll make a very small ellipse to be a nose, and directly underneath that, a line that very subtly curves up on the end. It almost looks like a number 3 on its side that's stretched too thin. That's a pretty easy way to draw a cute animal mouth. To make it an open mouth, I draw a U shape beneath it. I'm just going to to define all of my rough shapes. You see how close the curvature of my character's ear is to the tip of their sunglasses? The visual tension of those lines almost touching is something I'd rather not have in my drawing, so I'm just going to exaggerate the shapes of the glasses and the ear to take them away from each other and ease that tension from the viewer's eye. In that same vein of thought, I'm taking care to ensure the ears are nicely spaced at a good distance from the body, and that no lines are intersecting in distracting ways. See how the bottom curve of this ear doesn't intersect with the arm at the same place the arm intersects with the body? And how the back of the ear approaches the body but doesn't touch it? This spacing keeps our drawing from having visual tension, which could be a point of interest in some drawings, but wouldn't really add to our cute vibe. Adding some definitions at the handbag now, some curved lines and subtle points, and a bit of detail. As I draw in the strap, I take note of the ear and negative space exposed behind to make sure I'm not creating visual tension. I'm adding some pointy stars to contrast our soft, round character as background detail. A really easy way to draw a star, if that's something you have trouble with, is to imagine a clock. Have your pencil start at 12 o'clock, then draw a line to 7 o'clock, then 2, then 9, then 5, and then back to 12. So again, that's going to be 12, then 7, then 2, then 9, then 5, and then back to 12. See? Not too hard. That's our rough sketch done. Now I'm going to take a kneaded eraser and lightly erase my rough sketch. I'm not trying to get rid of the sketch, just pick up extra graphite and lighten my work. This cleans up my rough sketch enough for me to finalize the lines from my sketch that I developed the most in the rough stage into a clean, neat final sketch. The drawing has been reduced to the lines I spent the most time working on, as they were the darkest lines from repetition and remained visible after light passing the eraser. I can go in with a good mechanical pencil and draw in my final line work. At this point, I'm happy with the placement of things, so it's just a matter of smoothing and darkening the lines that are already there. drawing. I'm actually going to take things one step further today and show you how I ink my pencil sketches. I'm going to use my Neve eraser to pick up extra graphite again in preparation for my inking pens. There's a lot of graphite packed on the paper. The ink won't seep into the paper as well. It'll just sit on top of the graphite and be prone to smearing. Now I'm going to take my inking pens and simply color over all of my pencil lines. I use Micron brand inking pens, but markers and ballpoint pens are alternatives you might have at home already. When I ink my drawings, I tend to think of my line work as a shape of its own. I like to vary my line weight for visual interest, so I often create illustrations where some of the lines are very thick and some are very thin. I tend to use a thin pen to outline the very edges of my line work, and then I go back in with a thicker pen to fill in the line work shape. It's a little faster than constantly switching between pens with different thicknesses. that's our Diva done. Thanks so much for drawing with me today. Hope you guys enjoyed this. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye!